Passion without determination is powerless. Passion is the initial spark that draws us towards something we care deeply about. It's the emotional fuel that inspires us to dream, to imagine, and to take the first step toward a goal. It feels exhilarating, that rush of excitement, when we think about a new idea, a vision, or a calling. But passion, no matter how intense, is often fleeting. It rises with enthusiasm, but without something more solid to support it, it can just as easily fade when obstacles appear. That's where determination comes in. Determination is the quiet, persistent force that keeps us going when passion begins to wane. It's not flashy or dramatic like passion. It's steady, sometimes even stubborn. It shows up on the days when nothing is working, when the motivation is gone, when failure seems more likely than success. Determination is what gets us out of bed when we'd rather quit, what pushes us to try again after we've failed, and what keeps us on track when the excitement has worn off. People often romanticize passion. We hear messages like, follow your passion or do what you love, as though love alone can overcome every hardship. But anyone who has worked toward a big goal knows that the road is rarely easy. There are moments of doubt, fatigue, and setbacks that can knock the wind out of even the most passionate person. That's when passion alone is not enough. In fact, passion without determination can become a source of frustration. It can make people feel lost or disillusioned when they don't see quick results or when their efforts aren't immediately rewarded. They may feel the passion burning brightly, but without determination to carry it through difficult times, it eventually fizzles out. Determination transforms passion into action and then into discipline. It's the ability to keep showing up, to keep learning, and to keep adjusting. While passion may push you to start, determination makes sure you finish. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers. Many people start with great passion for writing, for building a business, for learning a skill, but only those with determination actually see it through. That's not because they never struggle, but because they've committed to enduring the struggle. Passion is emotional and exciting, but determination is practical and gritty. It doesn't ask how you feel today. It asks what you're willing to do anyway. When passion fades, as it inevitably does in the face of routine, difficulty, or failure, determination steps in to keep the fire alive. It feeds the flame with effort, with resilience, and with patience. In the end, it's not just about how much you love something. It's about how far you're willing to go for it, even when it's hard. Passion may be the beginning, but determination is what makes it real. Determination is built in the dark. It is not something that appears overnight or something that can be faked in moments of convenience. True determination, the kind that endures through adversity, is forged in silence, in the early mornings before the world wakes up, in the late nights when everyone else has gone to sleep, and in the lonely hours when no one is watching and no one is cheering you on. It is in those quiet, unseen moments that character is shaped and grit is formed. There's something powerful about the solitude of the struggle. When there is no external validation, no applause, and no immediate results, that's when a person must decide how badly they want something. It's easy to show up when people are watching, when there's recognition involved, or when the outcome is guaranteed. But when the work feels thankless, when it seems like no progress is being made, and when doubt begins to creep in, that's when determination is truly tested. And that's also when it grows the strongest, in the dark, away from the spotlight. Success may be visible, but the road to it rarely is. What people often see are the highlights, the achievements, and the breakthroughs. They rarely see the sacrifices behind them, the missed social events, the hours spent practicing or planning, the internal battles fought in silence. They don't see the 5 a.m. alarms or the endless trial and error that happens before anything finally works. That hidden effort, however, is where real growth happens. Every time someone chooses to keep going when no one would know if they quit, they are building something stronger than motivation. They are building determination. It's in those moments of isolation and doubt that a person learns what they're really made of. There are no shortcuts in the dark. You can't fake effort when it's just you and your goals. You can't pretend to be disciplined. Either you are or you aren't. And in that honesty, you find out just how resilient you can be. The small decisions made consistently, to wake up early, to keep practicing, to not give up. These are the bricks with which determination is built. Discomfort is part of the process. The grind is not always glamorous. It's exhausting, and it often feels unrewarded. But over time, all those unseen hours add up. The person who endures them doesn't just become more skilled or productive. They become tougher, more focused, and more disciplined. They carry a quiet confidence that comes from knowing how hard they've worked, even if no one else does. That's the essence of grit. Not loud declarations or temporary motivation, but a quiet, unwavering resolve built in the shadows. Determination, then, isn't made in moments of triumph, but in the moments when quitting seems easier and no one would blame you if you walked away. It is those exact moments that define a person, and the more of them you endure, the stronger your resolve becomes. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. The idea that everything needs to be just right before you begin is one of the most common and dangerous illusions. Waiting for the perfect time, the perfect setup, or the perfect level of confidence often leads to nothing but delay and regret. The truth is, perfect conditions rarely exist. Life is messy, unpredictable, and full of obstacles. But those who succeed are not the ones who waited for everything to align. They are the ones who move forward despite the uncertainty. You don't need more resources. You need more resourcefulness. It's easy to believe that if you had more money, better connections, or more time, you'd finally start that project, launch that idea, or chase that goal. But history is filled with examples of people who started with almost nothing and still made it work. What set them apart wasn't what they had. It was what they did with what they had. Resourcefulness is the ability to find solutions where others see problems. It's the mindset of using what's available creatively and refusing to let limitations become excuses. Many people fall into the trap of over-preparing. They convince themselves they need one more course, one more tool, or a little more experience before they can begin. But often, this is fear disguised as preparation. It's a way of staying in the comfort zone while convincing yourself you're being productive. Real growth comes from action, not endless planning. You learn far more by doing than by waiting for the ideal moment. Progress comes from movement, even if that movement isn't perfect. Creating opportunities means taking initiative. Instead of waiting for someone to hand you a chance, make your own. Start with what you have, even if it feels small or insignificant. If you want to write, start writing. If you want to build something, begin with the tools you can afford. If you want a new job or career, start reaching out, networking, and learning by doing. Opportunities often arise not from waiting, but from being in motion. When you show up consistently and put in the work, even in imperfect conditions, doors begin to open that you couldn't have predicted. This mindset shift from waiting to creating changes everything. It takes you out of a passive role and puts you in control. It may not be easy and it may not yield instant results, but it builds resilience, adaptability, and momentum. Every time you take action in less than ideal circumstances, you grow stronger. You prove to yourself that you can keep going even when things aren't perfect. And that's where real confidence comes from. Not from knowing everything will go right, but from knowing you'll keep moving even when it doesn't. In the end, the people who get ahead are not those who waited for the right time, but those who made the time right. They understood that resourcefulness beats resources and that action beats intention every time. Don't wait. Start now with whatever you have and build from there. Failure is part of the journey. It's not a detour or a sign that you're on the wrong path. It is the path. Every person who has achieved anything meaningful has faced failure along the way. It's not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be accepted as a natural part of growth. Failure challenges you, humbles you, and teaches you lessons that success never could. It strips away the illusion of perfection and forces you to confront your weaknesses, your assumptions, and your level of commitment. Every setback tests your resolve. When things fall apart, when your plans don't work out, and when your efforts don't lead to the results you hope for, that's when your dedication is truly put to the test. Anyone can keep going when everything is going right. But when the outcome is uncertain, when disappointment weighs heavy, and when quitting feels like the easier option, that's when your true character shows. Failure asks you a simple question: how badly do you want this? Most people see failure as a dead end, but those who truly grow learn to see it as feedback. Not as a statement of who they are, but as information about what doesn't work. Failure becomes a teacher, not a judge. Each setback brings insight, whether it's a mistake in strategy, a flaw in preparation, or a gap in knowledge. When you embrace failure as part of the process, you stop fearing it. You begin to see it as necessary. You start learning from it instead of running from it. The ones who rise after falling are the ones who truly succeed. It's not because they're more talented or more lucky, but because they refuse to stay down. They treated failure as temporary, not permanent. They didn't let it define their identity or determine their future. Instead, they used it as a stepping stone. With every fall, they got stronger, wiser, and more focused. Resilience was built not in moments of ease, but in moments of struggle. The ability to rise again, to try again after defeat, is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who give up too soon. Failure also deepens your appreciation for success. When you've worked through adversity, when you've stumbled and found your way back, the wins mean more. They carry weight because they were earned through perseverance. You remember the nights you doubted yourself, the moments you wanted to walk away, and the effort it took to keep going. Success that comes after failure is richer, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. No one's journey is without failure. It's not a mark of inadequacy, but a sign that you're pushing yourself beyond comfort. Those who never fail are usually those who never try. The road to anything worth having is filled with missteps, rejections, and setbacks. But if you can learn to keep moving forward, to rise every time you fall, Then failure becomes fuel, not a finish line. Live your passion. Don't just talk it. It's easy to speak about what excites you, to share your dreams with others, and to imagine the life you want. But real passion is not found in words. It's found in action. It's not about telling people what you love. It's about showing it through consistent effort. Passion is proven in the work you do, the choices you make, and the persistence you show, especially when the excitement fades and reality sets in. There's nothing wrong with talking about your dreams. In fact, sharing them can be motivating and inspiring, but too many people get stuck in the habit of talking instead of doing. They spend their time planning, imagining, and waiting, telling themselves they'll start when the timing is right or when they feel more confident. But passion that lives only in your head doesn't grow. It doesn't create progress. Passion comes alive when you start acting on it, when you take that first imperfect step and keep going even when it's difficult. If you truly care about something, it should be reflected in your daily habits. It's not about grand gestures or overnight success. It's about what you show up for day after day. Whether it's waking up early to practice your craft, staying up late to learn something new, or sacrificing comfort for growth, passion reveals itself in how you live. It's in the effort, in the discipline, and in the willingness to do the work even when no one is watching. Words are easy. Action takes commitment. Dreaming is important, but dreaming alone doesn't lead to results. Wishing for a better life, a creative career, or personal growth won't get you anywhere unless you're willing to take action, even small steps, even when it's inconvenient. Real passion means doing the thing, not just wanting it. It's writing every day if you're a writer. It's practicing even when you're tired if you're an athlete. It's putting your energy into something even when progress feels slow. That's what separates people who live their passion from those who only talk about it. Living your passion doesn't mean every day feels exciting or fulfilling. In fact, some days will feel boring, frustrating, or even discouraging. But when you're truly passionate, you keep going anyway. You don't give up when it gets hard. You push through the resistance because something inside you tells you it matters. Passion isn't just about emotion. It's about devotion. It's about being deeply committed to the process, not just the outcome. People who live their passion aren't waiting for permission. They're not waiting for conditions to be perfect. They're already doing the work. They know that progress, however slow, is better than standing still. They don't need to convince others they care. Their actions speak for them. Living your passion means showing up for it, not just dreaming about it. It means proving your dedication through effort, not words. Ultimately, passion that is lived becomes part of who you are. Not something you talk about, but something you embody.